Ireland in 2025.
And Noel and Liam Gallagher's Irish roots are being highlighted ahead of Oasis's sold-out shows this weekend. The band last played Ireland in 2009 when they headlined Slane Castle. Lord of the Castle has told Sunday World this week he'd love to have them back. Martin Logan from Usheen's GAA club in Manchester, where Noel and Liam played underage, says their man was always humble about their success.
Peggy's never changed, I have to say, to this day. I haven't seen her quite recently, but I used to see her from time to time before and always had a lovely relationship with her, and she was always a lovely, lovely lady to speak to. Of course, she's a very proud Mayo lady, very proud of her lads, but she has never bragged about it, or when you're in her company, she'd never be saying, oh, my lads have done this or that or the other.
And that's your news for now.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. When the forecasts make it magnifique with Ryanair's low-fare flights to Nice, Naples or Nîmes.
Showers will continue to move up over the country tonight, heavy and possibly thundery in places, turning mainly dry before morning though. Light southwesterly or variable breezes and lowest temperatures of 14 to 17 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With UPMC Orthopaedic Care. When things don't move, rotate or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back in action.
This is News Talk.
Good evening and welcome along to Wednesday night's Off the Ball. We're on your radio until 10 o'clock this evening. We've got an interview from 8 o'clock with Rail Teen Shreves. Now, if anyone ever asks the quiz question, who was the first woman to score points for Ireland in international rugby? The answer to that question is... What is it, Nathan?
Rail Teen Shreves.
Correct, well done. How did you know? Fantastic.
Second bite there.
So she is the first person to have ever scored points for the Ireland women's team. She played at the 1994 Women's Rugby World Cup, which was the first time that Ireland entered the competition. It's an extraordinary story, and that's coming up after 8 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, we've got a brilliant La Liga doubleheader for you. We're going to have Steve McManaman on the line to look ahead to the new season beginning this weekend. He's involved in Disney Plus's coverage. And Graham Hunter is also going to put a bit of meat in the bone with regards to some of the big talking points going into the season in Spain. Our number is 0879 180 180 if you want to get in touch with us this evening. Nathan Murphy, who you've already heard, is with us. Hello, Nathan. And
how are you?
Cameron Hill, how are you?
Not too bad.
This is your idea. Rail Teen
Yes.
Shreves is somebody that you put us on to. This was a great find, to be fair. You did the slot, which I'm sure everybody is aware of, with Pat Kenny. Like, you've given us your sloppy seconds, which is fine, to be fair, but you did a piece with Pat Kenny there last week about the history of the Irish women's rugby team in the World Cup, and you spoke to Rail Teen.
Yes, indeed. Thursdays after 11 for anyone interested, by the way, just to get that plug in. But yeah, was speaking to Rail Teen, fascinating character, just in terms of she had played for Millwall Lionesses for 10 years before she switched to rugby, and then is played in the second ever international Ireland ever played, the Ireland women's team, which is almost a year to the day from their first game. So they play Scotland in the same place that Scotland and England played the first ever men's international in 1871 in Rayburn Place. And almost a year later, that was on the 14th of February 93, 13th of February 1994, they go up to Ravenhill, a horrible day by all accounts in terms of weather, and Rail Teen is part of the team that plays then. She kicks Ireland's first points against Wales in March of that year, and then they're hoping to go to this World Cup, which is meant to be on in the Netherlands. And then the Netherlands Women's Rugby Union was affiliated with the men's at the time, and the IRB basically told them, we're not 100% sure on this second World Cup. The first one had taken place in 91 and wasn't sanctioned by the IRB, now World Rugby. And they were kind of holding out on the Dutch about whether they were going to give approval. Apparently it was going to be March before they would find out if they'd get approval, and the competition was due to be in April. So the Netherlands shelved it, said it's not worth the risk. Scotland step onto the breach. They've 90 days to organise this World Cup, and I was talking to Sue Brodie, who was one of the organisers who was playing for Scotland at the time, and said, look, I'm chair of the Scottish Women's Rugby Union, why don't I use my power? And they did. It was, by all accounts, a fantastic couple of weeks. Everyone in Scottish rugby seemed to have mucked in, so they got all their venues for free. And Rail Teen's account of how Ireland ended up playing at that tournament, despite it not going ahead in the first place and then being reorganised, and despite the Irish Women's Rugby Football Union not backing them, it's a fascinating story.
Yeah, there's loads in it. So the World Cup that almost did not happen does happen in '94, and it was the first time Ireland took part in it. So some really good stories about like Fiona Steed doubling as a player, physiotherapist as well in that team as Railteen, which is the Irish, of course, for Little Star, coming up after 8 o'clock. I've never spoken to a Railteen before. Born to an Irish mother in London. So, I mean, it's always the Irish parents abroad that come up with the most original name. So, Railteen Shreeves feature interview after 8 o'clock.
That's a great name.
It's a great name, isn't it?
I like it.
It really is. You are sitting here as a man who's got the two hottest tickets in town over the course of this week. You've got an Oasis ticket for this weekend, Nathan, which, never mind
Just
that.
one.
But you've also got a ticket for tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
You are involved in hosting it, so I guess you've...
Not just front row, on stage, which I'm not sure if that will happen with Oasis. It seems unlikely.
That you'll be invited on stage?
Slim chance.
Slim chance.
Do you do that?
Maybe more for Robbie Williams the week after.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
What's happening tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, we're live at the Sugar Club. John Giles, a night of celebration. The farewell to John Giles, who, as we know, earlier in the summer announced his retirement from punditry after well over 20 years with us here on Off the Ball. So
Only
we're having
took him a year of Owen to go,
Yeah,
Not
done.
even
All those years with Nathan.
10 months.
Yeah, everything was fine when I was here every Thursday night, and then Owen comes in and, well, that guy, he said, no more.
Yeah, I've retired many a person in my life.
But despite all that, Owen is also going to co-present tomorrow night. So could get a little bit awkward. I haven't actually told John this yet, so it's going to be quite the surprise when he's like, who's this guy?
I thought I was speaking to you every week, Nathan.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
Down the phone line.
It might be a little bit awkward. Yeah, so we've a brilliant night lined up. We've a few special guests, a few former teammates of John's through the years, some people to put into context the brilliance of John Giles and his importance to Irish football and to Irish society, going on for 70 years at this stage. It's sold out in, I think, less than 10 minutes. And much like Oasis and what you're hoping will happen with Oasis, production tickets own. A couple of them have become available. So if you're a super fan, I mean a John Giles super fan, you need to be Leeds United going back to the 60s. Super fan. Drop me an email, nathan.murphy@offtheball.com, and I'll see what I can do for you.
Okay.
If you can name the sequence of passes in that Leeds Southampton clip, like where the player who gets what ball from what player throughout, you probably get the tickets. That's the challenge.
I think that's fairly simple.
Is Cameron allowed to enter?
Cameron absolutely can enter.
Yeah.
We'll get you front row.
Absolutely.
Front row for you, Cameron. Absolutely.
There'll be no news tomorrow. Sorry, guys.
So we're really excited about that. You've no ticket for Oasis, which is, I've only one ticket. So I just bought one ticket for myself. It's all I could get when the tickets went on sale.
How is that possible? When you're in, are you not in? Like, could you
Well,
not,
that's
like,
what I thought. So I like everybody else, I was on the million in the queue type thing, and suddenly, whoa, I'm there, and I'm like, how many tickets can I buy? I'll go for 4. No, maximum 1.
Oh,
what? So I have one ticket in, I think it's the Hogan stand. So it's going to be me and some of my new friends,
Lower Hogan,
who I hope they like my singing.
Saturday night.
Saturday night.
If you're in the Lower Hogan on Saturday night, let us know, Nathan.
Or if anybody wants to swap for a standing ticket, you see, it's probably easy to swap for a standing ticket for a seating ticket. Some people just want to relax a bit more and sit down when they want. You just can't trust anything these days, though. I don't want to be sending my ticket online to somebody and then they don't send it back and I'm screwed and I'm left with nothing. You just can't trust the people these days.
No, you absolutely cannot. I've even heard stories of some very trustworthy websites having had scammers infect their mainframe, and a lot of legitimate looking accounts selling duds. So
you haven't been sorted yet, no?
No, I haven't. I put out the request on Instagram earlier on, which is, I got one response and it's the usual, do you have 560 quid? Which feels...
Listen, there's a lot of corporate boxes there, Owen. Me and you in there, and I'll give my ticket to charity then.
Okay.
And then I'll have someone to talk to.
Ideal. I will see you there. I've definitely been kind of like refreshing on Ticketmaster all day, and 493 seems to be the going rate. It's always, I don't know why it's that specific number, but that seems to be the resale.
I don't understand though, because, and somebody might explain, I know that ticket reselling is obviously a big thing right now, and I've used it to my advantage at times in America, where you'll get a game for a baseball game on a Monday night for like $8.
Yeah.
But Ticketmaster, the email they sent, if you want to sell on your tickets, sell them for face value to a true fan this way. Yet then every time I go online, it's 480 quid.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So who's making the money here?
Yeah, well, what is face value?
Have you seen Oasis before?
I've seen Oasis a few times before, yeah. I saw Oasis at Lansdowne Road in 2000. I was an Oasis super fan, so when they played their gigs in the Point, was it 97, late 96, 97? It was even hotter, I would say, than these tickets.
there just wasn't the black market in the same way. So we left school on the Friday, 2:00, got the bus to Castlebar. Was it Downtown Records in Castlebar?
Indeed.
Started the queuing, 2 p.m, slept overnight outside Downtown Records. Tickets on sale 9:00 the next morning. Oh, yeah, we've got 10 tickets for the first 10 people. And that's how ticket selling used to go, which was slightly more frustrating than the lying in bed on the Saturday morning when tickets went on sale and only being able to get the one of them. So, yeah. But the 2 or 3 times I saw them, Slane, Oxygen, felt like they were sort of going through the motions. They were also playing a lot of their newer albums at the time.
Which, crucially, they're not doing at the moment.
Whereas this is, the last 8-10 songs of this is some of the greatest set listing we've ever seen.
And are you pacing yourself throughout for when you're singing? Are you belting it like from minute one going and seeing how far you can go? Or is it a marathon, not a sprint, and you're waiting until a certain selection of songs comes up before you really give it full throttle?
No, I think knowing exactly what the set list is, and it doesn't seem like they're throwing in any surprises and there's no special song because they're in Dublin that they're going to play for us, I'll save myself for that final stretch.
If you were a true fan, would you not be hoping for like a surprising final 10 songs? Are you a bit of a casual?
I would have thought I was hardcore. Like, I like all the B-sides and all of that, but I just if it's old B-sides and stuff, I can get on board with it. But no, I think they're even playing some of the better B-sides, and it's just some of the new stuff. No, and none of the solo stuff.
Apparently they're in great form. As in, like, the quality
Getting
has been...
on?
No,
The
not
voice
that at all.
is good?
Yeah, voice is good, as in, like, how you describe, like, a football team. They're in good form.
Well, speaking of football, I don't know if you remember this, Cameron. Paul Arthur's, Bonehead, his father, Ben, from Mayo, and he used to referee my games when I was a kid.
No way.
Yeah, Ben Arthur's was sort of leading referee in the Mayo District Football League back in the mid-90s. So our sort of under 14, under 15 games. Now, Ben at that stage was probably 70. But still loved his football, refereeing us every week. Absolutely loved it. Great ref, we'll say. Great ref.
Bonehead, you know what to do. Your dad's been complimented as a referee. Send in some free tickets.
Please. There's no shame on this station at all.
It's only 2 degrees of separation to a very strong connection with Nathan Murphy.
Sorry. 2 tickets for Oasis for 2 tickets for John Giles.
Yes, indeed.
There we go.
I will let somebody else host the show alongside Nathan Murphy tomorrow. If you give me a pitch ticket for Saturday in Croke Park. That is the deal.
What's the limit of things we can offer up in this show to get you to Oasis?
I'll do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Shall we talk some sport?
Okay.
Shall we do some Newsround? The Newsround, of course, is with UPMC Sports Surgery Clinic. When things don't move, rotate, or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back in action. Where do you want to start tonight, Cameron?
Well, Rory McIlroy has revealed today that he's turned down the chance to be a future playing Ryder Cup captain at a future event. In fact, shot it down was how he phrased it. So this year's US captain Keegan Bradley will play at next month's event in Bethpage, of course. And McIlroy feels the demands of the role would be too much to balance with also playing.
I just think the commitments that a captain has the week of, you think about the extra media that a captain has to do, you think about the extra meetings that the captains have to do with the vice captains, with the PGA of America in Keegan's case, preparing your speech for the opening ceremony, just there's a lot of things that people don't see that the captain does the week of the Ryder Cup, especially now that the Ryder Cup has become so big. If you had said 20 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I think it was probably possible to do, but with how big of a spectacle and everything that's on the line in a Ryder Cup now, I just think it would be a very difficult position to be in. So I just think for those reasons, and then the captain isn't going to be on the course all day, so really the captain's only going to be able to play one session on Friday, one session on Saturday. Would you rather not have a player that has the flexibility to go twice if he's playing well? And there's a lot of different things that go into it, and that's why I think, look, it's just my opinion, but I think it would just be very difficult to do.
Sounds like a lot of things there to distract Rory McIlroy from his inner monologue that has often, forced him to play really poor golf.
I think Rory knows exactly what he's doing, which is putting some thoughts into the head of Keegan Bradley, who's going to have to make a decision in 2 weeks' time as to whether he picks himself as a player in the Ryder Cup. And right now, all of the signs are that he will. And it is causing a level of disharmony, I think, around the American team that maybe raises questions about what will happen at Bethpage, because they are going to be the strong favourites. Home advantage is absolutely everything. It's the overriding factor all of the time as to who wins the Ryder Cup. So America had a better team 2 years ago in Rome, but they simply couldn't deal with the conditions, with the course setup that Europe put in place, with Europe having the home advantage. They never came over in advance and played. They never prepared properly. Europe, I think, will do all of that, but still at Bethpage, home advantage should be everything. But this is becoming quite the sideshow. And Scotty Scheffler was talking today, and he was being asked about the Ryder Cup, and he gave sort of a snotty, I'm here to play the BMW Championship. The Ryder Cup's a month away. Why are you asking me questions about the Ryder Cup? It's like, because it's the biggest thing in golf for the remainder of the year. And everyone wants to know what you think Keegan Bradley should do. I put this to Shane Ryan, my co-host on the Ryan line a few weeks ago, because the Ryder Cup, everything about it is sort of hindsight as to what worked, and then you take it for the next time. So McGinley obviously transformed everything in 2014 at Gleneagles in terms of the level of preparation that he put into it and the level of data, and Europe have continued that. And Edoardo Molinari, former Ryder Cup player, is sort of one of the leading lights in world golf in terms of data analysis, and he's key to the European side. And now the Americans have followed suit, and they're big into the data. But if Keegan Bradley was to be successful as a playing captain, why not Rory McIlroy in 2 years' time at Adair Manor as a playing captain? It would prove that maybe the captaincy isn't the be-all and end-all. And Europe are in a sort of sticky spot at the moment because of what happened with Liv and the sort of succession plan that you would have expected of Westwood, Poulter, Garcia being next in line. None of them are there. None of them are available. I think right now Justin Rose is the likely captain at Adair Manor in a couple of years' time. He's 45. He'll be 47 by then. But if Keegan Bradley worked, well, why not have your biggest star? Remember, it is ultimately an exhibition. And if you had Tiger Woods as the American captain and Rory McIlroy as the European captain, that's box office, baby.
Yeah, that would be absolutely sensational. How often have we come this close to a captain being an unignorable pick for his own team?
Oh, I think the last time was Arnold Palmer, and that was way before the Ryder Cup became what it is now. All the things that McIlroy described that the captain has to do, never mind picking your wild cards, picking your pairings, having to pick your pairings for the afternoon session while the morning session is taking place. Now, again, the level of analysis is such, they'll have a plan in place and they'll have to stick to it. But does that mean that maybe Bradley can't play the morning sessions? Because, again, he's going to have to make that decision of what happens in the afternoon, and what if somebody's just stinking the joint out and you need to make a change and you're not seeing any of that. But his form has dipped. It's become a more difficult spot for him now, because probably a month ago, 6 weeks ago, he won the Travellers' Championship, you'll remember, against Tommy Fleetwood. And it was, whoa, this guy is probably one of the top 4 or 5 Americans in the world right now. He might qualify automatically. He has to be on the team. It could be a case that he's sort of pick 11 or 12. And does he go for that? Interesting twist is that he was screwed over completely 2 years ago. He wasn't picked. You might have seen it in full swing, where he wasn't sort of in Zach Johnson's inner circle with Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. And because of that, it felt like he was left out. And then it was a complete shock he got the captaincy in the first place. Felt like they just had nobody else, and somehow they turned to Keegan Bradley and said, please do this. So it's just it's an unnecessary distraction for America right now. And again, we'll read so much into it. The problem is, if they lose the first couple of sessions, all of this becomes the only talking point in town is, whoa, why have we got a playing captain? And bring it on.
Yeah, that would be a beautiful wrinkle. So just remind us again, what needs to happen for him to be an automatic pick?
I think, I'm fairly sure him being an automatic pick is out of the question. This is their last week for qualification, the BMW Championship. So even if he wins this week, I'm not sure it'd force him quite in. He'd definitely be close. If he wins this week, there's no doubt that they pick him.
And what's happened to Keegan Bradley this year? Like, is it a situation where this has kind of like lifted the pressure off his shoulders, where he's like, I can't possibly make the Ryder Cup team, therefore?
Well, he was thereabouts 2 years ago. So it's not as if, again, Keegan Bradley had suddenly been this major winner who was quite popular on tour and had fallen off a cliff. Even Ricky Fowler, you could argue, had fallen more off a cliff than Keegan Bradley. And let's give him the job because, he's a steady pair of hands and he needs this. He wasn't far away 2 years ago. He arguably should have been on the team. And his golf has just been really consistent since then. He's won a tournament, in the last, 2 months at this stage. So it was a bizarre selection. It did seem as though maybe Tiger Woods didn't want it at this time, maybe with the various injuries he had. And he's now sort of taken on Rory's role as sort of the leading player on the tour committees and that, and just didn't want the hassle, maybe saving himself for Adair Manor because of his very close friendship with JP McManus. But the Bradley decision literally caught everybody completely off guard. And maybe it has sort of freed him up that he's not thinking about his own game as much, and he's playing really good golf. And unless one of the sort of other 3 or 4 in the mix for the final couple of places do something spectacular this week, I think he is going to pick himself.
Cameron, you have one other piece of golf news for us.
Yeah, so the lineup for next month's Irish Open has been confirmed. McIlroy will be among the field for that, as will 5-time major winner Brooks Koepka. Fellow live golfers Sergio Garcia and Tyrrell Hatton will be joining him at the K Club. The organisers have announced today, while home favourites Shane Lowry, Padraig Harrington and Seamus Power will join McIlroy. They're also due to play at the Maynooth course, with the Open getting underway on September 4th.
Good lineup.
Absolutely. It's one of the real peculiarities of the current golfing world.
That is great for the Irish Open.
Even though that the European Tour are far more in bed with the PGA Tour, because of the legalities of it, live players can still play on the European Tour. There's appeals processes going on. There's fines being paid by Liv. Now, Liv said they're going to stop paying the fines. The players will have to look after it themselves after this season. But it does give the opportunity for the likes of Koepka and Garcia, and maybe a few more between now and then, to come and play at the Irish Open. It gives them a chance to win world ranking points. And even though the Irish Open is, 3 weeks before the Ryder Cup, the European Ryder Cup team has been picked before that, which is just so frustrating. It makes absolutely no sense that they don't wait another week and have the Irish Open and have the PGA at Wentworth and then make their decision on the wild card. So the Ryder Cup team will have been picked before the Irish Open, which means because of that, aside from the Irish guys, I don't think too many of the top Europeans will play. None of the top PGA Tour players are likely to come over. You still have Rory McIlroy as the number 1 draw in world golf, but like Brooks Koepka is a 5-time major champion and he's a superstar. So Brooks Koepka is going to draw a huge crowd. I think it's sold out already Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the K Club. So tickets there on Thursday. Sergio Garcia obviously divides opinions. Sergio's in the mix for a wild card. Probably unlikely for Europe, but still in the mix. And yeah, I think we'll probably see a few more of those live players come and really flesh out the field. Okay,
there are loads of football stories that we will get to after the break with Cameron and Nathan. Before that, it is time for the Cash Machine.
News Talk's Summer Cash Machine.
Now, after our biggest ever winner last week, the Cash Machine has been reloaded, and there's a new number you now need to know for this Friday. It is €103,000. There are now 2 ways you can enter. You can visit newstalk.com/cash machine, where you can enter online, or you can text PLAY to 57557. That's 57557. You have to get your entry in by 3 p.m. on Friday. Then across the Go Loud network of stations, someone is going to get that all-important call. If it's you that gets the call, you have to answer it within 5 rings. Give us the exact amount in euro and cent, and you will win the cash. So remember that amount one more time. €103,000. Over 18s only. Text costs €2.50 plus your standard message rate to play. You're playing across the Go Loud network of stations, and terms and conditions are on newstalk.com.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With UPMC Sports Surgery Clinic. When things don't move, rotate or